In eastern Ohio, protesters just learned the hardest truth of the data center boom. Their county government has no legal power to stop the project they're fighting. From a Native Nations lawsuit against a $19.5 billion campus in New York, to power bills climbing so fast the White House is calling a second summit, the collision between AI infrastructure and everyday Americans is escalating by the day. We begin in Cambridge, Ohio, where residents of Guernsey County spent their weekend on a protest line and discovered the deck may already be stacked against them. The project they're fighting was pitched to county commissioners on June 9 by Smart Energy Partners and a local real estate agent named Jason Miller. But here's the twist that has residents furious. Under Ohio law, county commissioners hold only the powers the state legislature gives them. And without a voter-approved county zoning resolution, Guernsey County has no authority to regulate land use at all. A private landowner can simply sell to a developer, and the data center can move forward without asking anyone's permission. Protesters, part of a national mobilization organized by the group Humans First, say they're worried about their water supply, their water quality, and their electric bills. For now, all they can legally do is make noise. That kind of opposition is now making its way into courtrooms. And in western New York, it's being led by a sovereign native nation, the Tonawanda Seneca Nation. The Sierra Club and a local resident have sued in state Supreme Court to stop a roughly $19.5 billion data center planned at the Stamp Industrial Park in Genesee County. The suit argues the 2012 incentive zoning agreement that created the 1,250-acre park violates state law by locking the town of Alabama's zoning in stone. For decades, it also alleges the county's development agency handed Stream U.S. data centers $472 million in subsidies without a full environmental review or detailed project plans. And the timing is brutal for the developer. Governor Hochul's new statewide moratorium on hyperscale data centers already appears to freeze the project's permits for up to a year. Two fronts. One message. Not here. Not like this. And the reason this resistance keeps gaining momentum comes down to one thing. The electric bill. Across the country, the costs of the data center build-out are landing on households. One Virginia homeowner opened his January bill to find it at $281. Roughly triple what he normally pays. The White House has taken notice, preparing a second, expanded ratepayer protection pledge summit in the coming weeks, asking utilities and developers to promise that data centers will pay their own way on the grid. But there's a catch that critics keep pointing to. The pledge is entirely non-binding, and no formal oversight mechanism exists to verify that anyone is keeping their word. With analysts warning that billions of dollars in grid costs have already shifted onto the public. The question hanging over the summit is a simple one. Will a handshake be enough to stop the next rate hike? The pressure on the grid is only half the story. Water tells the other half. And nowhere more starkly than in Texas. The state's draft 2027 water plan projects that supplies available in a drought of record will shrink from 15.5 million acre-feet down toward 14 million by 2080, mostly because aquifers are being drained faster than they can refill. Without new supplies or conservation, Texas faces a shortfall of 3.6 million acre-feet as soon as 2030. Now layer on the AI boom. A University of Texas study estimates data centers could consume 3 to 9% of all water used statewide by 2040, counting both cooling and the power plants that feed them. The proposed fix, reservoirs, reuse, desalination, carries a price tag near $174 billion. In Texas, the fight over data centers is fast becoming a fight over water itself. State and local governments are taking notice. And this week, North Carolina becomes the next battleground. In Alamance County, commissioners take up data center regulation at their board meeting, with a possible moratorium on the table. Not far away in Rural Hall, residents packed a community meeting to oppose a 129-acre data center ahead of a final rezoning vote on July 30th. And in Stokes County, commissioners narrowly voted down a moratorium of their own while the massive Project Delta looms. A development whose original rezoning approval was voided by a court in April over a defective public notice. With Fayetteville reviving its own data center ordinance and state lawmakers weighing a statewide regulation bill, North Carolina's quiet rural counties are quickly becoming some of the loudest rooms in the American data center debate, and every vote is drawing a crowd. Yet despite that regulatory wave, construction is pressing forward, and in Oregon, it's accelerating. Sabey Data Centers, one of the largest privately owned multi-tenant operators in the country, celebrated the start of construction on a 714,000 square foot campus in Umatilla. Designed to support more than 150 megawatts of capacity. The site sits in what's being called the Columbia River Cloud Corridor, a fast-growing cluster of hyperscale campuses drawn to the river's cheap, reliable, renewable hydroelectric power. The first of 2 data halls is scheduled to come online in April of 2028. While communities elsewhere fight over drought-stricken aquifers and strained grids, the Columbia Corridor is pitching itself as the rare place with power to spare. And hyperscale developers are clearly listening. In this land rush, geography is destiny, and the river towns of eastern Oregon are cashing in on theirs. And the players behind that construction keep multiplying. This week a brand new operator called Coraville officially launched. A joint venture between Spanish construction giant Axe Group and global infrastructure partners. The infrastructure arm of BlackRock, Coraville isn't starting small. It debuts with a major hyperscaler customer already signed, covering roughly 140 megawatts of critical IT load across 3 facilities at its Dallas-Fort Worth campus, with an option to expand by another 100 megawatts. The launch says everything about where this market is headed. The world's biggest asset manager and one of Europe's biggest builders creating a purpose-built platform for AI infrastructure, with an anchor tenant locked in before the company even had a public name. Demand is so intense that new entrants no longer break into the market. They arrive with the market already waiting for them. And that appetite brings us to our kicker. Because behind the scenes, big pieces of this industry may be about to change hands. The Wall Street Journal reports that bankers are quietly shopping ownership stakes in a string of data center operators, Netrality, DataBank, Edged, and EdgeCore Digital Infrastructure, as owners race to cash out while investor demand runs red hot. One name keeps surfacing as a potential buyer. Helix Digital Infrastructure, a new platform backed by private equity giant KKR. The sell-off follows last year's $40 billion takeover of aligned data centers by a consortium including BlackRock, MGX, Microsoft, and Nvidia, the deal that reset the price of the entire sector. Owners are seeking exits, buyers are flush with capital. And the second half of 2026 is shaping up to be one long auction. Whether the fundamentals justify those prices, that's the trillion-dollar question. Thanks for watching. If you found this useful, subscribe, leave a like, and drop a comment. It helps us cover more of these stories.